that other folks had shown out on some videos, you actually can take this thing apart. So, all right, well, my wife called me the other day, said that her 650i here has gotten grumpy and it has turned on the SOS error. But that didn't bother her so much. She's used to, you know, little errors here and there that I fixed. But what really bothered her was that the radio stopped working. So let's get in here and look and see what happened to the SOS and why the radio stopped working. And then we're going to look at the easiest check to see back here in the trunk. We're going to see if it is the satellite radio that has finally stroked out in this car and it has killed the MOS system, so now it's not communicating. So let me hop in the car and I'll show you what it's doing. Alright, so if we hop in the car, and you don't have to start it, we just got to initialize it. So let's just turn it on right here. And it should give me a gong that tells me my SOS is not working, or it's already set, so it may not give me the error, but we'll go over here and look and see what it says. But it pops up and it says SOS with a big mark through the middle of it. Alright, well, it didn't give the error up on the screen like it sometimes does because it's already set the code. But let me go over here to the display and you can see what it says, because I got a little triangle right there. And so let's go over here and we'll see that it's got an error. So we've got info sources, service info, check control messages, and you can see it says SOS call system malfunction. Well, that is maybe due to the SOS system, but it might just be due to the optical connections in the MOS system where something has faulted out and it's not getting any signal. The other thing that you'll notice is if I go over here to the radio and we look, you can see, you can check it, those two are colored. None of these are showing active. So I can't select FM, I can't select any of this stuff, satellite. The CD works and the auxiliary works. So we got to go see, and one of the simplest things that we can check without going through this whole system on this issue is to see if maybe our satellite radio system has died, because for just a couple bucks, like $10, $12, you can check this thing. The hardest part's getting the carpet out of the freaking trunk. But it's a good place to start because it's easy to get to, it's real cheap to try, and it might fix the problem. If that doesn't work, we'll look at other things like maybe the battery has gone dead in the SOS system, or maybe it's something with the other connections around the system. But we're going to start with the most likely guy, and that is that satellite radio in the trunk. So let's get set up back here and get to that guy and see if we can jump it with an optical splice. Alright, so looking in the trunk, this satellite receiver is right behind this carpet right here. So we're going to need a few tools to get to it. So you need a set of little star guys to take that little latch off, and then a screwdriver, a little pair of tweezers, like needle nose pliers, a Phillips head screwdriver. We need a wire cutter, but we're not going to be cutting any wires. These guys actually are handy for getting these dumb little pop things off here BMW put in. You can't even pry them off there with a pry tool. They're on there so hard. And we need a little bitty screwdriver because what we bought is the male and female. So make sure if you're doing this to see if this satellite radio is faulted out as an easy, cheap first step. Make sure that you get the male and the female, because we're actually going to have to use part of this connector and put it into our BMW wiring, so we don't have to do like some of the videos showed where they chop all this up and make it look all nasty. Absolutely no reason to do that. We can take the insides out of this one, put it in the BMW one, and then clip it right to it. So make sure you get the male and the female, and I'll put a link up. I got this off Amazon for like 11 bucks. So I'll put a link up there for it so you can get this one, and it works out real good. I'll show you how to put it in there. So let's get all this moved out of the way and get this carpet out. I'll show you how to get each of these things off and what you got to do. And then we can swap out our little optical connectors. Alright, so let's start with the pieces that hold this on. So this guy right here has to come off. So you got to take your little black cover off, and then underneath it is a star. So you got to take this little hinge loose, and then it won't come straight up. So you actually have to turn it sideways
kind of wiggle it around a little bit and it'll pop out of its little hole there. Quite annoying, but it does come out if you get it tilted just right. So we got that guy out of the way. So now we got to work on one of these little guys right here. Now these things are about annoying. These little clamps right here, and you can't get them off with a pry tool because it'll break your pry tool. But this is where the wire cutters come in. So you just grab it on either side with the wire cutters, and it still doesn't want to pop off. So just take a screwdriver, slip it in behind it, and give it a little pry. Unbelievable that they won't come off. Like that. So, it takes a bit to get them off. I've already popped these loose, but that's how you get those impossible to get off their BMW stupid little pop clamp things off there. So, we got one there, and then we got one right here, so I've already popped its head up. And they're still on there super tight. So we got those two. So then, let me move all this out of the way. So for the convertible, you got a little convertible puller right here. This is your manual cable pull. So you gotta slide it out a little bit, and then the cable actually disconnects from the knob. So you twist it back and forth in its little groove there, like that, and you can pop that out. And that's what these little bitty pliers are for, is because you may have to reach back up in that hole to get it when we take the plastic out of here. So there's that one. Now for the bottom of the carpet, it's got right there just a little plastic thing that holds in on. So you just take a regular straight blade screwdriver, take him off, and that's pretty much got the carpet, but we can't get the carpet out because we got to take some more trim off. So this trim piece needs to come off up top, and it's got 4 more of those little poppy things that you got to grab and pry down on and get them popped out. I got them opened up, so there's 4 of them that hold that on. So then that slides down, and it's got the light on it, so you can either disconnect the light, get him out of the way, or just hang it off to the side. I'll go ahead and disconnect the light. We got the top done, but we can't get it out because this piece is in the way. So let me show you how to get it out. Alright, so to get this trim piece off, there's actually 4 of these little guys right here. They got caps on them, so you have to pry the little plastic cap off. Then there's like a Phillips head screw underneath it. And then right down here, there's 2 of these little guys. They're like quarter turns, little plastic things. And so they come out right there and there. Then you have to take this whole thing and pull it outward, out toward the car's nose, to get it over these, and then it'll pull straight up. So let me get those done real quick, then we'll be ready to pull the carpet out. Alright, so with everything out of the way now, our carpet should be free, and you can take that little door off if you want to. So if the little door comes off, then you got to raise up on the carpet and pull it out a little bit, and then get it up out from under the seal. Right here, try not to damage your seal. Like that, and then it's stuck right underneath here. So you have to push forward to get that to come up. Then you can pry that out with your fingers and do the same along the bottom. Got it out of there. So that's how you get that carpet out in one piece. And as you can see, there's the little cable we got to feed back through. That's for the convertible top. Alright, so that was definitely the hardest part of the whole thing. Now we can look at our little satellite radio. Alright, so if we are looking to test out this satellite receiver here and find out if it's the problem, like say this is the pretty cheap and easy way to check the first things before we have to go digging into this car. So we're just going to bypass this guy, see if it turns the radio on. We don't use the satellite anyway. So here's the connector for it, and it's got the little pickup underneath the bottom. So you stick your finger under the bottom, pull up on it, and slide it out. So there's our little optical guy for BMW. Now, we got to use, because we don't want to be chomping up this stuff and zip tying it and doing things like that other folks had shown out on some videos. You actually can take this thing apart. So this one with the little blue thing on it, we're not going to deal with. We're going to use him, but we're not going to have to modify him. For this little guy right here, what we want to do, and you'll see a little tab right on the edge, and all you got to do is raise that little tab right here, and you can slide out the optics. So what we're going to do, since this guy fits into this connector it came with, we're going to put this connector on the car and get rid of the BMW one, or at least have it where it's not running the optical. So if you look at the BMW one, it's the same way. It's got a little tab right there, and so what we got to do is push the little tab over, and we're going to pull the optics out of the BMW connector. So now these are actually the same. So what we want to do is use our little connector that we took out, put it on the BMW one, then we're going to use the female and we're going to clip it onto this one. So as simple as that, we bypassed it without having to cut all that stuff up. We just took the pigtail out. So now this one doesn't have the optics, but we can plug it back in to the satellite radio like that right there. So there you go, about that simple to test this out. Now we're going to hop in the car with this bypassed and see if that gives us a radio back again. If it does, then we'll know that little guy was the problem. We don't have to go any further. Fortunately, only cost me about $12 and a little bit of time to take all this apart. But like I say, the fix is so much simpler than getting to it. So now let's hop in the car, fire it up, and see if we got a radio. Alright, so with our little jumper connected right there, let's hop back in the car and see if we have a radio now. See if that was our problem. So, put our key back in. We don't have to start it, we just got to turn it on. I'm gonna close the door. I got to close the freaking door on the BMW. So, as we can see, now our little triangle went off. So if we go over here and check our codes, we can go to info, service info, check control messages, and it says all systems are okay. So it registered by plugging that electrical connector back into the radio, but bypassing the optical, it still registers it. And if we go over here to entertainment, now we can see the only one that's darkened out is the satellite. So now we got FM, AM, the satellite's dark, CD, and auxiliary. So we were able to bypass it, and it looks like it's going to work. So let me switch it to FM. And so now you can hear the radio. So there we go. So that fixed it. So apparently that was our problem. Even though this is a garage kept car, that satellite radio must have malfunctioned and died. But just putting the little optical loop in there fixed it. So we're good to go. We didn't have to go any further with our diagnostics. So there you go. Hope that helps someone. And thanks for watching.